Imagine a 12-year-old boy. It is a scorching August day in Ivins, Utah. The boy doesn't leave through the front door. He crawls through a window. His body is emaciated. His ribs are visible under his skin like a silent, skeletal scream for help. But the hunger isn't the most terrifying part. Wrapped around his ankles and wrists is thick silver duct tape. Beneath that tape, open, bleeding sores from the heavy metal shackles that held him to the floor. This boy isn't running from a stranger. He is fleeing from the person millions of people invited into their living rooms every single day. A woman they called the perfect mother. This is the dark psychology of Ruby Franke. Ruby Franke was a YouTube superstar. Her channel, 8 Passengers, was a titan of the platform with over 2 million loyal subscribers. Every day, she invited cameras into her pristine home. She sold a vision of the American dream: order, discipline, and unwavering religious values. She was the architect of a digital empire built on wholesome parenting. But behind the ring lights and the 4K cameras, Ruby was conducting a horrific experiment on her own flesh and blood. This wasn't parenting. It was a systematic laboratory of human suffering. Before we see how it ended, we must understand how it started. Evil rarely arrives in a single, violent burst. It grows slowly. It normalizes cruelty, one lesson at a time. In psychology, we call this the normalization of abuse. Ruby didn't start with chains. She started by marketing her severity as a divine virtue. Remember the incident with the bed? Ruby publicly admitted to her millions of followers that she took away her teenage son's bed for 7 months. He was forced to sleep on a beanbag on the cold floor. The reason? Natural consequences. Then there was the lunch incident. Her 6-year-old daughter forgot her food. The school called. Ruby refused to help. She told her camera and the world that the child needed to feel the pain of hunger to truly learn. Viewers were worried. Thousands signed petitions. But Ruby had a psychological shield: her own moral certainty. She claimed the world was distorted, and she was the only one brave enough to live in the truth. The darkness truly solidified when Ruby met Jodi Hildebrandt. If Ruby was the face of the operation, Jodi was the ideologue. Jodi was the founder of ConneXions, a coaching program that functioned with the precision of a high-control cult. Her philosophy was binary and lethal: truth or distortion, light or dark. Any emotion that wasn't absolute, robotic obedience, was labeled as distorted or evil. When these two women joined forces, the Franke home became a private gulag. Psychologists often look at cases like this through the lens of shared psychotic disorder. Ruby and Jodi reinforced each other's delusions in a closed loop. Jodi convinced Ruby that her own children were possessed by demons, that their physical pain was the only way to purge the darkness and save their immortal souls. Parenting turned into a spiritual war zone. The children were systematically isolated. Ruby cut off her own parents, her siblings, even her oldest children who had already escaped the house. Isolation is a manipulator's most powerful weapon. Without an outside point of reference, you begin to believe every lie you are told. Inside the house in Ivans, the children were forced into grueling manual labor in the desert sun. Hours of work without water. Hours of work without rest. They were starved. Why? Because a hungry brain cannot resist. When the body enters survival mode, the higher mind shuts down, you become compliant. You become a robot. Ruby and Jodi use this biological vulnerability to break the spirit of children. But the most terrifying mechanism was the spiritual gaslighting. Ruby didn't say, "I'm hurting you because I'm angry." She said, "I am hurting you because I love you more than anyone else." To a child, a parent is a god. If that god tells you your bleeding wrists are a gift from heaven, your internal reality shatters. August 30th, 2023. The system finally broke. The boy knocks on a neighbor's door. He asks for food and water. The neighbor sees the raw, weeping wounds and calls 911. Police officers enter the home and find his 10-year-old sister. The house is eerily silent. No music. No laughter. Only a sterile laboratory of controlled agony. When Ruby was arrested, the public expected a breakdown, a realization of horror. But investigators found something far more chilling. Detachment. Ruby Franke didn't look like a mother who had lost her mind. She looked like a scientist whose experiment had been interrupted by people who didn't understand the truth. This is moral disengagement at its peak. She had convinced herself her actions were not just acceptable, they were holy. In court, we saw a different Ruby. She cried, she apologized. She blamed Jodi. She claimed she was misled and blinded. But as students of human behavior, we have to ask, was this genuine remorse? Or was it weaponized vulnerability? High-level manipulators often play the victim card the moment they are finally cornered. It is their last play for control. The scars on the children's bodies tell the only truth that matters. Ruby Franke successfully used the halo effect. Because she looked like a successful, middle-class, religious mother, the world was slow to see the monster. We want evil to look like evil. We don't want it to look like the woman who gives parenting advice on our smartphones. We don't want it to look like us. The children are safe now. But the path to recovery from this level of coercive control takes a lifetime. They weren't just physically broken, they were taught to hate their own existence. Breaking the trauma bond is the most grueling part of healing. It is the invisible chain that keeps a victim mentally loyal to their abuser long after the physical shackles are gone. Charisma is not character. Confidence is not truth. Any love that requires the systematic destruction of a person's spirit is not love at all. It is a cage. Stay vigilant, because the most dangerous monsters are the ones who tell you they are doing it for your own good. The truth doesn't need a filter. Thank you for watching this deep dive into the mechanics of control. If this analysis helped you understand the warning signs of shared delusion and abuse, please share it. Education is our only defense against those who use the mind as a weapon. I will see you in the next deep dive.